This is Meteorologist Matthew East, and this is the Wednesday edition of the Carolina Weather Video for December the 10th, and a very dynamic storm system pushing into our area, and we're going to focus on that storm system here for this entire video. That's a look at the temperatures this morning, and the temperature forecast for high temps yesterday really busted across much of the Piedmont. I was off significantly with that. That warm air advection really kicked in very nicely yesterday, and that kicked us up into the 60s, and we're starting off the day in the 60s here across much of the Piedmont this morning. But look at the single digits back here in the northern part of the plains and the western Great Lakes. Quite a temperature contrast. Very strong frontal system draped across the country, and you can see the tightly packed isobars there along and near that front. And a couple low pressure areas, one in eastern Kentucky, one down in the Gulf of Mexico. Both will play a role in our weather. There's the radar this morning, and we have lots of rain from Kentucky and Tennessee down through Alabama and the western part of the Florida Panhandle. And a lot of that activity in Alabama and the lower Mississippi Valley has been in the form of severe thunderstorms. There's been tornado issues all along the track of this system so far through this morning. And yeah, back on the colder side of the system, snow flying deep south into Texas. Places like Austin and near San Antonio have seen snow this morning, and that's something that does not happen there every day. Quick snapshot this morning from the Birmingham NEXRAD, and that is the rain with embedded thunderstorms, and then those storms have occasionally been severe. All right, here is how things unfold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the 6C run of the NAM. I think it's as good as any other model with its handling of how this system is going, and we'll take a peek at 500 millibars and then the surface at each time frame here. So here we are, 1 o'clock this afternoon, and the features to note: we have this southern stream trough here across Texas. That's going to cut off into a closed upper air low, and the northern branch up in the northern part of the country, and still not completely set in stone which part of that system moves exactly how fast. So that's why there's still some question marks with this forecast. But anyway, that's one this afternoon. For our area, showers, and as we get toward this afternoon, the air mass becomes increasingly unstable ahead of that frontal boundary. So thunderstorms get into the mix, and some of those storms in the Piedmont and even the mountains as well could be strong to severe today. And we're going to have to watch that very closely this afternoon and into this evening. This is 7 o'clock this evening, that upper air trough cutting off and closing off into a closed upper air low at the surface. And there comes that developing surface low pressure moving into the Florida Panhandle, pretty broad and diffuse at this point. And this evening, again, showers and thunderstorms highlighting our forecast. All right, 1 a.m. on Thursday morning, very intense upper air low near the Louisiana and Texas coast at the surface. Low pressure getting a little better organized over southern Alabama, and it looks like for our area again tonight, showers and some thunderstorms, and we'll have to see how much of this cooler air can progress into the northern Piedmont from the north. If it once that boundary moves through, you're looking at just rain and no more thunderstorms, but it's not at all set in stone how far south that boundary makes it tonight. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, Thursday morning. Very intense, deep upper air low. That's a cold core upper level low sitting near New Orleans. And at the surface, developing surface low moving into eastern parts of Alabama. This blue line, that is your 0 degree line up at 850 millibars. And generally, it's a rough estimate of a rain snow line. So there certainly could be snow flying deep down into Louisiana at tomorrow morning. For our area, it's all going to depend in terms of the severe weather threat tomorrow, how far south this frontal boundary presses. It'll probably stall out somewhere around the Piedmont, and I think as this low pressure area develops, and it's going to ride up that frontal boundary, and anyone along into the south of where that front stalls out tomorrow has a pretty decent severe weather risk, and it looks like that's going to include much of the Piedmont. 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, upper air low over Alabama, snow flying in Mississippi and Alabama for us. I'm mentioning a lot of rain, and thunderstorms a possibility, and severe weather a possibility along into the south of that boundary where it sets up tomorrow. And there's going to be a lot of dynamics and shear in place. We'll have to watch that. You can get spin up tornadoes fairly easily with the type of shear values we have in place, assuming there's at least a little bit of instability. And again, if that front hangs up in the northwest Piedmont, then we will have some instability in place tomorrow. So rain and thunderstorms a good bet in the Piedmont for tomorrow. 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, the upper air low moving near Atlanta. At the surface, the surface low still, again, fairly broad, but generally over the Carolinas at that point, snow falling in Alabama as we go through tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. And in terms of that deep south snow, there'll probably be a strip here through Mississippi and Alabama that picks up 4 or 5 inches of snow with this upper air low. You get that sometimes with these very deep cold core upper level lows. And that low sort of opens up into a trough as it swings into the Carolinas tomorrow night. This is 1 o'clock on Friday morning. And at the surface, that cooler air trying to work down aloft. Notice some sub-zero 850 millibar temperatures in eastern Tennessee and down into Georgia and South Carolina. And I do think tomorrow night we could see some areas of wet snow across the Carolinas. It's just way too soon to tell exactly how that's going to unfold. It all depends on how strong and how cold that upper air low is. And so I'm just mentioning the chance for some wet snowflakes Thursday night. I don't think it's a big deal, most likely, but there could be some flakes in the air for Thursday night. And that system begins to pull away early in the day on Friday. Let's take a peek very quickly here. This is back 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 850 millibars here. And a lot of times if you track where the low pressure is up at 850 millibars, that's where you get your heaviest snow. And that's tracking right across Mississippi into Alabama before it begins to fill a bit as it moves into our area. So, looks like I got an error message there. That's all right. All right, now for our area, showers and thunderstorms. We're going to watch the severe weather threat very carefully this afternoon, then continuing tonight and tomorrow, depending on where that boundary sets up. And there will be a lot of rain with this system. This is off the 6C NAM, and the exact heaviest axis of precip continues to shift just a bit. But I think most of the Piedmont's going to see probably at least 2 inches of rain in some spots, locally more. So this still looks like a good soaking rain event. All right, that's it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. A lot to talk about, and I'll try to keep the blog fresh with any changes in my ideas I have. But keep it tuned to News 14 Carolina for all the very latest weather information on television. We'll be there to keep you up to date on any active storms that move through our area. And, of course, we're also on the web at www.news14.com. Everyone have a wonderful Wednesday, and God bless.